Hello, noon o'clock tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Lobotomy Corporation with me, BlueAnkylo, and the late night YouTube stream hanging in there, even though everyone should be asleep by now. So, in between episodes, we have recruited a new member from chat, new employee. Thoranum joins the crew with some basic equipment. We also have Samuel, who is not actually from anywhere, and is totally someone we're just going to throw to the wolves. Because there's something I'd like to show you. Has to do with the current abnormality. It's a little bit spoilery, but you'll see when it happens. So we moved our ace experienced employees, Blue, of course, myself, and Fella, who are, at least for now, while we're alive, the highest ranked employees. Although, Rides over here is also level 4, so he's doing pretty good. And then we moved Grotham down to the information team and put in our new control team. So we got a pretty well-balanced squad. And I bought the rest of the spears and stuff, so we got slightly better equipment here and there, but for the most part, it's the same as last time. And yeah, let's get to it. Oh, yeah, important to note, noon ordeals active. So day 11, ordeals now can go to noon. In the information, so days 6 through 10, we only had to worry about dawn, and if you could survive dawn, you can play as long as you want. Now, though, you have to get past a noon. And noons, again, I don't know, I'm actually quite sure it's in here somewhere. But noons count as Hech class, or however you pronounce it. They're level 3 abnormalities. So all our equipment is Teth, which means they are, by default, stronger than us. It probably explains the ordeals in here somewhere if you look around. I don't even know where he'd look, but I bet you it's in here somewhere. Or it's not, doesn't really matter, but I feel like it should be. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's just get to it. What I mean to say is, we might not be able to grind infinitely at this point. Okay, so we've got ourselves a new abnormality. It's a, well, whatever that is. It's, whatever that is. Which is a abnormality that loathes itself, howling in despair. It tries to lift the curse in vain. Beauty was once a fair lady with the charming green eyes. One day, this poor lady learns of a job opening at the manor of the Count. So, just for funsies, and this is only because this is a low-level monster that I've seen many times, we're going to send Sam in there to repress it. I hope he can survive, but I think he can survive. I just want to show off what happens. And then once we've learned more, I'll explain what's going on a bit better. Don't do this if you're playing along. It hates its grotesque appearance and tries to kill itself. It's trying to kill itself. But the curse continues, never removed. Death is another form of birth. Look, he's doing fine. Taking a little bit of damage. It would be better to take someone in here who has level 2 prudence. It's a much safer. Alright, but the monster doesn't look quite the same anymore. Let's just see. Oh, look, it's very weak to repression. So clearly we're on the right track. Alright, Samuel, you did just fine. Let's do this again. Let's learn more about it. Now that we know repression works so well. It is looking for someone who can lift its curse. Play at normal speed. It existed for centuries, agonizing the unfortunate victims. Don't worry, Sam. He'll be fine. Come on. You're gonna go crazy, though. Come on, Sam! Sam! You have to win every one now or you're gonna go crazy. One more success. Dang it, Sam! Well... he actually didn't go crazy. Good job. But, Sam is gone. And... the monster is fully healed. So I wonder what happened. Also, we got the energy. That's fine, right? Look at all that energy. So it's basically kind of hard to work on unless you're doing repression. So it's our first monster we can actually use repression to train up a stat. Maybe. Alright. But for real, though, I can handle it. Alright, let's go blue. Beauty and the Beast is looking for someone who can lift its curse. I think we've lifted the curse, though. Because I don't think this is the original monster. Remember, the curse continues. And, of course, remember that it's trying to kill itself. Alright, I did a great job. I barely even took any sanity damage. But once again, the monster is injured. Alright, now let's get the tips. You should always get the tips first. I just did this to be silly, to show you the repression works. Alright, repression shows the best results. Repression produced a good number of energy, but negatively affected the health of the monster. Working other than repression improves the health of the monster, which is typically insight. It collapsed with a weak moan after a repeated repression work. When it was gone, Tom, well, actually Sam, the employee who carried out tests, suffered unidentifiable symptoms. Soon, a new monster was born. So, if you haven't figured it out, this thing, if you repress twice, dies, and you lucky dog get cursed to become the new version of it. What a happy thing. So, it's actually fairly simple, and that's why I wanted to show this off, because it's very easy to avoid that. If you start by reading these two things, you might get an idea that damaging it and then healing it is kind of the mechanic. And that is, in fact, the mechanic. So, if I send in something other than repression, we won't get as much energy on non-repression works. Yeah, Rides. This thing is your boss, actually. You are correct. Sam is here forevermore. Anyway, so now you see, you worked it, and it's happy again. It's all energetic and stompy. So there we go. The main thing is, and it's kind of unfortunate, but this is sort of our only way to grind out our justice stat. The sad part is you can only grind it every second action. You can't repeatedly do justice. You have to do justice, then something else, then justice, then something else. So it's definitely not as efficient as just training up your instinct on a spider bro, which we'll send some people to do while we're watching. So anyway, this guy or girl, Beauty and the Beast, crazy multi-eyed monster, it's actually pretty easy to handle. Like, the gimmick is very simple. It's just, if you don't know what you're doing, it's pretty easy to lose somebody before you figure it out. What? Who is this? Grotham, you did not do amazing on the spiders. Gotta say, Grotham. Alright, new day. Let's send Thorinum to one sin. Everybody's got to have a turn with one sin. That's the rule. Them's the rules. Alright, spider thing. Fragment's getting a little bit angsty. Everybody down here has got 3 temperance already. Heck, fella has 4 temperance. That's pretty sweet. Well, no reason not to get even more than 3. We'll send Jelka in there, and we'll just start doing a bit of farming up before the dawn ordeal. Would be nice to get some repression. People with level 1 repression, I feel, is a little bit low, but we got to do instinct on the spiders, basically, to stay safe, so. Alright, we're going to switch to Fella, let Fella do a couple tries. I think what I'll do is I'll try to send low-level employees with level 1 justice on the cycle where we can do repression on Beauty and the Beast. Once we've got it fully researched, because it's a little bit safer once it's fully researched. And it does sanity damage, so I can double-check that they are not wearing terrible white resistance. But honestly, it doesn't do that much damage, right? Like, 2 to 4 white is still not that much. Alright, we've got half our energy. It's ready to be repressed. So we could now take somebody like Jelka, who's got great stats, except Justice, and try to work that up. Because at least it's It's a Teth class, so getting to level 1, 2, 3 shouldn't take that many work. And at least we can start getting some movement speed. Movement speed is really nice as your base gets bigger. You know, when you've got a small base, it doesn't matter, you don't walk as much, but as the base gets bigger and you're sending people across department, suddenly moving quickly becomes quite useful. Alright, there we go. We've got the full story. We actually could read the story. Let's do the story after the Dawn ordeal, basically. So basically, we'll have Blue and Fella doing insight prudence training while other people come in for justice training until everyone gets at least level 2 justice, basically. And then down here, doesn't really matter too much. Try to get more people to level 4 stats for HP. We're ignoring the tree where we can. The bird will escape soon. We actually got a very bad result, but one of the things, it doesn't escape, and there's no clip-off counter. So other than double repressing, there's almost no way to mess it up unless you take way too much damage from it and go crazy. But, you know, I think Fella took a fair amount of sanity damage, but not enough to drive him crazy. He is weak to white damage, which is kind of unfortunate. Alright, so the next action will take us to the next ordeal. And for that, we're just going to group, well, everyone except one person. Our newbie, where's our newbie? Thorinum, you're going to be responsible for setting this off with 1 sin. I'm just going to group everybody else up over here. There's going to be probably 3 groups of worms, and this is kind of the center over here, nice and connected to everything. In fact, I'd almost guarantee that there will be worms up here because there's only really one hallway in the training center that they can spawn in. So they'll probably start here, and then we can clear the other sections off fairly quickly. At least that's the idea. Did I accidentally? Yeah, I accidentally sent Thorinum down here. Look, this game, it's not like a real-time strategy with precision clicking and attacking orders like StarCraft or something. It's still primarily a base management sim. Alright, Punishing Bird escape, that's fine. I wonder if Punishing Bird will help us. Or if it will get damaged and go crazy. That would be worse, actually. Okay, they should be fine against those. If Punishing Bird goes ballistic, we got a problem. So, it took a little bit of damage, but it didn't transform to fully red bird. So I think we're okay. And we've already cleared out our worms. So we're going to go take care of these ones next. Although they might teleport before we get there. The problem is here you have to go up through the bird and then over here. 1, 2... This is actually longer, I guess, but there's no bird in the way. Send Fella... Oh yeah, Fella! Right. He's not even in chat anymore. Hey, Fella. I got a job for you. It's coming for you. It knows. There you go. Good job. Keep it occupied. Oh, now it's time to move. If that bird takes too much worm damage, I'm going to be super mad. I've never seen Punishing Bird get triggered by the monsters, but it is possible that an ordeal could do enough damage to it to set it off. And that would be pretty terrible. Alright. Looks like we're okay. And Thorinum, you are fine, right? Nothing to worry about. You dealt with 1 sin, now you're on your way over to the rest of the team. Bird's on the way home after Fella tamed it. We'll just deal with this last worm pile. We definitely lost some employees, but that's to be expected. I wish they would always just attack the closest abnormality when they're in a room. I think that would be a lot more efficient. Here they are. But, you know, like I said, base management, not real-time strategy. Our brave employee was trying to shoot them before he got brutally eaten by the worms. Also, we get a noon event right away. So I'm not sure if a green noon is a great idea with our current strength. I just gotta tell you guys, I'm not super confident we could take on that. We could try, but any of you guys that are familiar with this game might have an idea what a green noon is like. It's probably the most dangerous noon for our current setup. The colors definitely are, like, they're not always exactly the same, but like, so Crimson Dawn was like the little clowns that tried to get the things to escape. A Crimson Noon wouldn't be that, but it's something similar, and it's actually not particularly dangerous to your employees as long as you can kill it quickly and stop things from escaping. So I would be happier to deal with a Crimson Noon because I think we could probably handle it. A Amber Noon would have been something kind of like the Worms, which also would be terrible. The Green Dawn was the robots that are very good at killing your employees. So you could probably imagine that a Green Noon is something more dangerous, perhaps robotic, and also really good at killing your employees, which is what it is. And I don't think we could kill it, so we need to stop before we get to that time, which is unfortunate because it means we can't really grind up stats much more. So I'm going to send Jelka back. We're going to kind of primarily focus on this thing, because I'd like to get a couple armor weapons out of it, and we just can't stick around much longer. This is essentially, because of these kind of mechanics like the Noon Ordeal, and it doesn't always happen on day 3 or cycle 3. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 when this happens. But it puts a limit on how long we can stick around until we're stronger, and you kind of have to guaranteed get enough energy before that triggers or you basically lost. So it's just the way of the world. I think it's possible. I wouldn't want to bet on it. I think if everybody grouped up and took them out one at a time, because again, just like most things, this will trigger 3 different spawns, 1 per zone. And I think if we fully grouped up and I did a little bit of micro to kind of move out injured employees and stuff, we might be able to survive. But I think it's very likely that it can kill people, especially anyone weak to red. And we have, because it's a Hek class, like a level 3, if we're wearing Teth armor that's weak to red, it will do so much damage. Like, it'll kill you good. So because of that, I'm probably going to not do it. I'm hoping that the next abnormality is Heh tier, and we can start getting some Heh armor, so that I can get at least 1 or 2 people that can go clear these kind of ordeals. Once you got a couple people that are geared, it's a lot easier. But we have enough energy. I can show them off and end the day if I want. So at least you've got that going. And we are getting more armor. I mean, Teth armor, it's nice to have, but that's not what we need anymore. Like, we've already got enough Teth armor. It's time to really be looking for upgrades. So we're kind of in an unfortunate situation here. We're going to get 1 more repression on Beauty. So Thorinum can go practice his Temperance a little bit. And we'll do 1 more repression, and then that'll probably be the end of the day. Actually, we're getting pretty good results, even on an Insight there. That's quite nice. I'm trying to give everybody at least 1 chance to do some Justice training. Just because I don't have a lot that can work on it. At least this gives us the right boxes, because we're getting new weapons, and at the same time we're getting some stats that we need. Although, to be fair, if you want to survive Green Noon, the primary stat should be get everyone more HP, because that's what you really need. Alright, so now I've got a lot of red melee weapons, so let's just pick up the armor for now, and you know, we'll get all of it eventually. So, I'm thinking I'll show it off. We're definitely not going to fight them. I think I've decided for sure that they will kill us. It's possible we could win, but I think it would be at the expense of at least a few employees would die, and I'm not even 100% sure we would win in the end. So I want to just trigger it so you can see. Process of Understanding. Noon of Green. This is our first noon ordeal. We've never seen one before. So we've got one there, one there. They actually only gave us 2, maybe? Sometimes... So unlike certain ordeals that only spawn in hallways, these guys can spawn, I believe, in the regenerators as well. Maybe I'm wrong. But I see 2 for sure. Sometimes it's hard to find them. But yeah, this is what we got. They are, you know, giant death robots with, whatever that is, you know. And, you can see here when you click on them, it's a hit tier, which should signal that it's not safe to fight. It is weak to black and white damage, so those black spears and white weapons, if we had any, would be useful. But I think our best odds would actually be kiting them and using ranged attacks. They have a ranged attack as well. They have a gun that doesn't do too much damage, but their melee damage is insane, as you may be able to predict. And I'm pretty sure their melee damage will... Well, the only way, if I was going to fight them, I would have had to pre-buff everyone with this, They Must Be Happy, because this will give everybody like 20 more stats and everything, and then maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it being terribly likely at this point. It might be possible, but I'm not going to risk it at this point. So, we had 1 death because we have a new beauty, and otherwise we did just fine. Got a little bit of stats. We didn't get as much training time this time around, so unfortunately now that the noon ordeals are out, we won't always be able to train as much. So hopefully we've got enough early game stats that we'll be okay, or hopefully we get stronger quickly enough that it won't matter. It's kind of a gamble when you're playing through the first time. It's one thing if you can import super overpowered weapons from a previous playthrough, but if you're on your first try, kind of gotta hope one of these 3 is good. So, someone's persistent gaze can be felt from the keyhole inside the machine. I don't think I've ever seen this one. We see this one before. That's another Teth, if I remember. That's not a flower. Oh, the other. Order the employees to get away immediately. I think I've seen this one before. I will say I'm 70% positive this is a hack class. And one that's not super difficult to work, if I remember correctly. Although it sounds pretty bad. Or wait, no. This is something else. There's 2 different ones I was thinking of. Yes, so still a hack, but also totally not safe to work with. I have a feeling this is going to be bad. This would be the safe bet. This would be safe, but you wouldn't get better gear. If I remember correctly, because I'm pretty sure this is Teth. I know we can handle it, but it won't really progress our team. I don't think I know this one, which means it's probably Heck class. Because I know, like, you generally get the early ones first, and I've seen most of the early ones because I've started over a couple times. I haven't seen the higher stuff as much because I just haven't gotten that far. I think I'm going to go with that. The flower, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's a pain in the neck to deal with, and it will kill a lot of people while we get figured out. And I would prefer not to have a whole lot of dead people. Yeah, this is definitely... Yeah. Okay. The flower... No, we're going to skip that for now. And if it is the one I'm thinking of, the mechanic to handle it is kind of annoying. Like, again, I don't want to spoil everything. Yeah, Undertale taught us to stay away from that. But there are certain mechanics for some abnormalities that require, like, lower stats. Like, generally, higher stats are better. If you have more HP... or better work speed, or better whatever, that tends to mean better results. You saw with, was it Fragment of the Universe, that in that case, it was kind of inversed, where lower stats give you better results. Although, keep in mind, a higher temperance stat still gives you a higher percentage buff from your work speed and work success. So that stat still helps, but it kind of has lower results at high ranks for your work. So, okay. But it doesn't, like, kill you if you go with a high rank character. There are some abnormalities that straight up you can't work if you have level 4 or 5 stats. Basically, period. And I kind of think this is one of those, if I remember correctly. Which means, you know, early on you might be able to manage it, but late game it's just going to be a pain in the neck because you're going to have to handle something that every time you send someone in, you either have to keep someone at low levels or someone's going to die, or you ignore it and something bad happens. I think. So there's kind of like there's a bit of metagaming here on how you pick your stuff, and I'm certainly no expert, but that's kind of my logic. So we're going to try this thing. I don't actually think I've seen it before, so it could be way worse. Like, I'm trying to avoid this thing because it's bad, and this is too easy. This could be 10 times worse, but we'll see. What do you think of the Saphiras? Don't you find them somewhat lacking? It's your liberty to disregard their words, but please be kind to them. It's something we must do if we want to advance the department. I don't have any serious conversations with them. They don't feel comfortable because I am a superior being. Haha. They could do nothing about it even if they're secretly jealous. She spends way too much time thinking about what other people think about her. After all, I am the most advanced AI. Yeah, she's got some issues. Oh, hi. You're not angry, are you? I'm Hod from the training team. We're, well, you know, accidents happen. Angela said approximately 40% of the accidents could be prevented if employees showed more initiative. So it's my job to provide employees with work manual training. You know, to reduce the number of accidents and transfers. Well, I'm not perfect, but I won't disappoint you. Actually, I'm trying a new program these days. Well, I don't know if any of them would work, but you'll want to know more about them. Well, as you know, the company is quite demanding, and despite regular checkups, many employees lose sanity. I know how it's like, because I'm a robot, and I know how I interact with people that are dying all the time. I mean, I don't actually interact with the abnormalities, but I know what it's like to lose oneself. Well, I'm not sure if my new program proves to be useful, but one can hope. Thank you, ma'am. I feel much better now. Looks like horrible thoughts are gone. Oh, you solved the problem yourself. I only showed you where to start. I mean it. I would probably have committed suicide by now if it weren't for you. Anyway, you saved my life. I'm glad to have you as my Saphira. You're a really good person, robot, machine, AI. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm glad to see you're getting better. I hear you are transferring to a different team. I hope you do well there. Don't forget about the conversation. Of course, ma'am. Did you see? My program really is working. I want to help as many of them as possible. I'm saving others' lives. Oh, that's a nice quest. Just promote 2 employees. As long as we don't get a green noon, I can stick around as long as I want and promote somebody to a new level. That's a good one. Alright, so we could also, if we cared, unlock security team at the same time. And that would get us sort of a split facility where we'd have to put employees on both sides here. And I'd say, especially early on, that's probably not the best plan, because most of those ordeals spawn one group of enemies per department that you've unlocked. So unless you want to have a bunch of people defending 4 departments, maybe just stick with this for now. If you're confident you can defend all 4, then sure, but it's probably better to stick together for now. I've got to read that story before I end the episode. But also, what level is it? That is a HA level. So this is our most dangerous thing yet, because it costs more. It's got to be. I'm pretty sure this has to be a HA class. A mechanical abnormality that can walk on its own. Huh. Well, we'll see what it is next episode. Before we end, though, a fairly short story. So, Beauty and the Beast, an abnormality that loathes itself, howling in despair. It tries to lift the curse in vain. Beauty was once a fair lady with charming green eyes. One day, the poor lady learns of a job opening at a manor of the court. Count, I guess. The Count looks monstrous. Anyone who dared to enter his manor is never seen again. A hideous monster must be preying on people, she thought, and brought a very sharp knife with her. The lady was hired and worked at the manor. Contrary to the rumors, she found no trace of the monster. Sometimes at night she could hear voices. He was kind and wanted to compensate her for her troubles handsomely. Working in the manor, the lady became greedy. If the Count is gone, I could take his possessions for myself. One day, she went inside the Count's room. The room which she was instructed never to enter during the day. Just like, you know, Beauty and the Beast, right? I remember that. There she saw the Count's true form. He was a hideous monster, several hundred eyes, 4 legs. He was neither human nor animal. The lady thought, perhaps the world would be better without such a hideous monster. She stabbed the beast with her knife. Surprisingly, the beast laughed at her moment. Laughed at his last moment. Even before the lady could ask why he is laughing, she began to change. Hundreds of eyes formed, and a thick coat of fur grew on her. Soon she turned into the beast. Now the manor and all its riches belong to her. There's a rumor that all who enter the manor vanish into thin air. Spooky! Spooky! So, some of them are definitely spookier than others. That one's got some creeps to it. And that is what happened to Sam. So we should just call it Samuel, right? Samuel and the Beast. Pretty good. Alright, so, I should have just used one of my regular employees. I mean, we could have just had one of you guys forever be, you know, that one, but I didn't. Anyway, for those of you watching on YouTube, future tubers, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. And next time, stay tuned for exciting, dangerous class abnormalities. See you there.